The U.S. takes a stand against global terror as the U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder announced that on February the 18th, 2015, the U.S. will host an anti-terror summit. Attorney General Holder announced the summit from Paris while attending an emergency conference on terrorism in the wake of a terrorist spree in France that killed 17 people earlier this month.
I think it's going to be important for us to make sure that we recognize these kinds of attacks can happen anywhere in the world. And one of the things I'll be discussing with Secretary Kerry today is to make sure that we remain vigilant, not just with respect to Americans living in Paris, but Americans living in Europe and in the Middle East and other parts of the world, making sure that we stay vigilant.
The U.S. Attorney General shared the sentiments of the U.S. during his announcement. As he said, we must not deal not only with holding accountable those people who perpetrate such heinous crimes, we must also deal with underlying causes that cause these things to occur, that somehow radicalize these people to take actions that we all find to be affront to humanity. The call by the U.S. for the world to take action and collectively respond to terrorism comes as the U.S. begins to remove a heavy influence of U.S. troops in the Middle East. The most recent terrorist attacks that have caught world attention reside in France, while terrorist attacks in other parts of the world, such as Africa and the Middle East, happen almost daily. One question that is not often asked is, will the world respond to and address the terrorist attacks that don't happen in the Western world, but occur in small villages and towns on the Eastern Hemisphere?
In this country, for example, the Department of Homeland Security, which I lead, is very involved in meeting with community leaders talking about countering violent extremism. And that's something that I personally do around this country in a number of different cities. And we're determined to continue to do that.
Terrorism has plagued areas in Africa, such as Nigeria, Chad, Sudan, for many years. And many are questioning, when will these countries receive attention and support from the world leaders to address the systemic issues that allow terrorism to breed in these nations? From Washington, D.C., Maria Bird, Channels Television News.